Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. It is the middle of October and we're just going to do a little walkthrough. Things are going to start changing pretty quickly now for this season. We've had a really long, very warm fall, like record warm September, and October has felt more like September normally does. We've only had one light frost that barely nipped a couple things in my landscape, but that's it. We might have another light frost this week, but so far nights are staying in the 40s, like we're barely even dipping into the 30s even overnight. So interesting, but I get to enjoy all the color for longer, although things are looking a little spindly now. You can see like the Wicked Witch coleus are all kind of bare in the center branches there. But the salvia, plain the blue salvia, still looks gorgeous. That has some of the longest bloom and like vibrant purple blue bloom stalks of any salvia I've grown. Little limelight prime hydrangea. Hydrangeas start turning yellow in their leaves in the fall. They get kind of golden leaves before they drop. This is funny. This is one plant actually that kind of split in half and looks like two different plants. That's a Sahara double salmon zinnia. Not as vibrant colors anymore. It almost looks like the Queenie series, like that lime green. It's still beautiful, but those are more like deep salmon color in the summer. Of course, late in the season, things get more shade because the sun is further to the south. I'm excited to have this here this winter. This is the Mr. Bowling Ball Arbovita I planted earlier in the summer. It's this beautiful, like, and it's soft. It looks like it might be pokey, but it's really soft, kind of blue-green foliage. Will be planting this hardy hibiscus. It's going dormant. Hardy hibiscus also get really pretty fall color before they lose their leaves. So it's going dormant. I'll plant it even if it's just, you know, the sticks. If it doesn't have any leaves, the root system is still active and alive. So you can always plant your annuals or perennials that way. Just plant the roots. That's what you're overwintering anyways. But once I just have let this kind of become a mess because, you know, as soon as we get frost, that'll all be pulled up anyways. But that is where the hibiscus is going eventually. I have my hose out here too in the yard, so don't mind that. Over here, this is what Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. It blooms for a long time, kind of early summer, and it's just covered in purple blooms early on. And then this is kind of what it does. I deadhead and cut it back and it lightly reblooms, but it just keeps that kind of cool green foliage. These phlox, if I had been deadheading, these phlox might have bloomed again, but I did not. This is opening act phlox. These bloom all summer long. You can kind of see this one as the ultra pink. And a couple gomphrena mixed together. I have one gomphrena carmine, and that's my favorite gomphrena of all time. The QIS carmine. This year I bought it, a flat of it, as it was the first time I saw it in a garden center, but really easy to start from seed. And this is the, I'm forgetting again, this is the Proven Winners one, gomphrena, oh, for crying out loud, I just had it in my head. Truffula pink. There we go, Truffula pink gomphrena. So I like how those two kind of mingle together. Gomphrena is one of the easiest plants to go as long as you have enough sun. You can see the little lime hydrangea there, really getting some gold color to it. There's another of the Sahara double salmon zinnias down here. Just a few more roses left and then we'll be done with that. Over on this side, you can see some of the hostas have kind of started. They turned gold in the fall too. Well, I guess not that much gold. But even over here, like the last frost, I showed this in my last video, it just barely nipped the tops of the Persian shield, which is an annual. This is not perennial. So all I had to do is cut off the little burnt tops. And that's still looking good. Raspberry cream gomphrena here as well. I grew that one from seed. That's just one plant. Gets kind of a bushier variety. The QIS carmine is a little more leggy, like you can see through it. It has longer stems and not as many leaves. Here's another of that ultra pink. Oh, I got one fresh bud coming. Phlox over here, and then annual rudbeckia. Angelonia is very frost tolerant, so that looks good for a long time. I do have 3. So far I've had luck with these. Those are the silver gumdrop. Is that a silver gumdrop heuchera from Proven Winners? This is my perennial stash, aside from one large phlox I have left to plant. These, I kind of neglected this one. I need to just give this a bunch of shots of water. Helenium, it'll be fine though. But whatever I don't plant this year, I overwinter on my shed or my porch. That is what I have been doing every year. It freezes in there. It is still either a zone 6 or colder. We are a zone 5A. It's hard to gauge what each one, but it doesn't get as cold as outside, and things stay protected from the wind. So if I don't get the Anna's Magic Ball planted, that will be overwintered on the porch, because that way it will get sunlight still, but they need that cold dormancy period. I did clear out a bunch of containers. Some of the annuals, like this is these will die in the frost, but sometimes I don't have the heart to throw things away, so I just pop the annuals around so they can still look cute until the cold takes them eventually. I did plant, this is wild Canadian ginger. It was not looking so great. It's a ground cover, very slow growing, but very hardy. And I got that on clearance before garden tent closed. So I planted that here. I have another patch of it back here. Kind of the leaf shape blends in with the wild violets, but it's that kind of glossy leaves with veining that I planted last fall. So that's what it looks like. It's really attractive. And then I have a lot of ground covers over here. I would love to plant a Sun King Aurelia over on this side, but I need to be able to, so many weeds come through the fence. Like, it's so bad, and I have to be able to clear everything out. It takes quite a bit of digging. I even use Roundup for some things that are just impossible to get rid of. And then I also have to lean over the fence and kind of cut all the suckers. So I just have to keep this area clear, which is why I threw down wood chips this year. It worked pretty well. I think I'll just keep a hefty mound of wood chips back there. Maybe some stone as well. Otherwise, the lungwort that I transplanted is looking good. I completely expected that to wilt down and look crappy, but it's looking great. And the toad lilies are still blooming away. They're little orchid-like blooms. Those are so adorable. We've been pretty dry. I've just been hitting things. With this area I sprinkled a couple weeks ago. Otherwise, the newly planted stuff, I just try and hit them with the hose a couple times a week for a deep soak. This is a sprinkler I use when I sprinkle, only when needed, if we're in drought mode and things are really looking dire. So you can sprinkle overhead with something like this. We don't have hard water here anyways, but it's like a rain. If you're not doing this every day or like every other day, it's really not going to damage the plants because it acts just like rain does. So I'll set a timer on my phone for like 40 minutes or an hour or something and just let it get a nice big area. I can't remember, I think this one is Blue Arrow. I keep forgetting if it's Skyrocket or Blue Arrow, but I think Skyrocket is more green and this one is very blue. This juniper here. But I really I'm hoping next year I can do some coleus around it again because that looks really pretty. The blue and the red or orange. Trevi Fountain Lungwort looking beautiful. That one is a large plant variety. And I see all my snapdragons are budding up, so hopefully they have a chance to bloom. I mean, we don't have a freeze, not even a true frost in the forecast, so fingers crossed. I did throw over here, I got a maidenhair fern. I've always wanted one of these. I love the texture, and I think a lot of ferns don't get credit for how much drought they can tolerate. But yeah, maidenhair fern. So I popped that in here, and then this is another Rainbow's End hosta. This is a Joe Pyeweed eupatorium, one variety, like a native variety, which is why it gets very tall, very leggy, and very floppy. So next year I have some supports over it, but for next spring, I'll put like a grow through frame, a tall one. This elephant ear is so gorgeous. I can't wait to grow both of these next year. So I save the roots from those, the tubers. Look at the base of it though. This one has already got massive this year in this little pot. That's a big one. I don't know what variety it is. This is Canova Scarlet Peach, or no, Bronze Peach. Now the leaves are turning green, but in like full sun and the full heat of summer is very bronzy leaves on that one. Diasia, a little patch of it over here. Looking really pretty, still blooming. The Stokes aster bloomed early and then didn't rebloom despite the fact that I deadheaded. The last bloom I decided to leave just a couple buds on there. It's an experiment. It was newly planted. We are newly zone 5. And that is the first zone 5 perennial I planted. But I like the leaves, how like lance shaped they are. Like little swords or something. They're long and skinny. And these little like seed heads look kind of cool too. Excuse me. Normally it has blue flowers. But this was its first full year in the ground, so I'm sure it's still establishing. This mum always splits open. This is supposed to be an annual mum, but it has come back for, I don't know, maybe 5 years since I popped it out here. This is also an annual mum that I've overwintered in either the porch or the shed, one or the other, for about 5 years in a pot, and I just decided I'm sick of that, so I planted it in the ground. We'll see if it comes back. We've got some more buds on this little group of snapdragons over here too. But I love the texture of the seed heads. On all of this, we've got bee balm here. There's salvia kind of sticking up. Caradonna salvia, it stays upright without splitting for me, so I don't usually cut it back. And then there's their Millennium Allium right in here. I'm excited for this GM to get big too, because I love the foliage on GM. I mean, their blooms are beautiful too, but the foliage is just so like soft and fuzzy looking. Really pretty. You can see the color in the back there from the hardy hibiscus. That one, you can see some weeds I need to pull in there too. That particular one is the Holy Grail from Proven Winners, Summerific Holy Grail. We've got Anna's Magic Ball, Arbovita. This is like its mature size. This one's maybe 3 or 4 years old now. It gets kind of bronze. It's nice and bright gold chartreuse in the summer, and then gets kind of bronzy color in the winter time. When it was little, it would be covered with snow. The last couple years, we haven't gotten enough snow to cover it, though. This is a transplanted Coreopsis, which is not dead, though it looks dead. So I'll be excited for that next year. And you can see the Noblessa Yarrow. This year it didn't do as well as previously, but it just keeps throwing out those little white blooms. I think maybe next year I'll try giving it a really hard cut back, like cut it back by half once the first sets of blooms start to turn brown, and see what it does. Because this year it had a longer lull than it normally does. Normally I just kind of deadhead lightly and it keeps blooming. But maybe I'll give that a try. Then we've got Lemon Jade Sedum. This one I think I just planted last year. And a giant dandelion. It's cute. Cosmos, this one is still all just full of blooms and looking good. We got a little bit of rain last week that kind of lightly soaked the soil. Not real deep drench, but it was enough that I could push that stake a little further down. So that's good. The aster is kind of nearing the end of its bloom cycle. It'll still throw out buds here and there for that blue color and like late season pollinator food as well. And then my little, this is just annuals. I have a wire vine, an English ivy. I think this one is Toto Gold Rudbeckia. That's an annual one for us. This is, I don't think it had a name, but it might be called Threads, Joseph's Coat, or Alternanthera. And then this is like a annual Carex. I did that kind of early in the season, and I just moved it out here when I cut back this phlox that's right behind it, just to fill in the bare spot. Here you can kind of see the shape of Carmine Gomphrena. This one's smaller because it's kind of shaded out in this spot. You can see how like long the stems are, and then the leaves are really kind of spread out and real narrow. So I call it like a grow through plant. You could plant it really close to other things and it kind of works its way through the other plants, which is kind of nice. You can crowd them together. This is perfect seed collection too. All those dried, once it dries up like that, all these dried seed pods are ready to pick as soon as they fall off. I have a bunch already, but that is perfect for seed collection. I need this crazy cosmos. I need to cut this back now. But it like goes all the way into this aster. And I let it grow. It bloomed, but now I think it got run over. And this yarrow I just transplanted. But we've got, excuse me, we've got color over here still. This is a newly planted cosmos. And then just the random hodgepodge of things. Zinnias, cosmos, marigolds where the kittens earlier in the summer kind of knocked stuff over. We've got some nice color back here on the azalea. It's the Rosy Lights azalea. You can see straw flowers kind of growing through as well. And I planted another hardy hibiscus right here. This is what happens to my cosmos. They'll be blooming beautifully and then all of a sudden, poof, they just wilt. So I know we had a really wet last year and this year, like higher than average rainfall totals. Not crazy, but I kind of wonder if it's just wilt in the soil that's getting in. I don't know. So I'll cut those back because that looks really crummy. But I'm getting more blooms again on these. I just picked a budworm off and squished it earlier today. They've been feasting on all the buds on my snapdragons. This is a favorite plectranthus. This year it got kind of spread out. Normally it grows a little more upright, but this is a lemon twist plectranthus. Those branches look really gorgeous as an accent in if you do cut flowers, like in vases and stuff. And then this Gomphrena seeded itself. I plant Gomphrena over here just about every year, different annuals. And I noticed when I was weeding that one of those looked like a Gomphrena seedling, so I let it grow out of curiosity, and sure enough, that's what it was. I wish it wasn't a white one because I've grown every color here, but oh well. I'll take it. Looks cute mingled in with everything. And my shadow. I still have not harvested carrots. Now would be a good time to do that since we're getting cooler nights. I just don't have time for it at the moment. But those we can get freezes before we harvest those. As long as the soil is workable, you can harvest your carrots. I always wait until late in the season because they get so much sweeter if you let them go through some cold weather first, maybe at least a frost or two. And this is actually looking fresh now. This little calibrachoa that I planted in the spring. And then I just have random annuals mixed in the places where I harvested other stuff earlier in the season. The marigolds are just such a beautiful fall. I mean, they're gorgeous all summer long, but there's such nice fall colors too late in the season. So these tall ones, everything over on this side planted itself. The other dwarf ones that I always plant with my peppers, I purchased those and planted them. I cleared out a container with this coleus, and the witch's brew, and when I cut it back, it looked cute. So I thought, well, there's a hole right there. I'll just pop it in until it dies from cold. This finally opened. Well, now they're closed up, but African daisy, osteospermum. Beautiful flowers, great plants, but they're really picky about conditions. Like they lull quite a bit when it's hot and humid. They don't like that. They like cooler weather, so I don't usually plant them, but I got that on clearance. So there it is. But yeah, these are all just clearance flowers. I got another crop of zucchini coming. Hopefully they make it through before we get frost so I can harvest some. Beautiful Victoria blue salvia. That's one of my faves. Don't buy anything else that looks like it. You don't need to. This is way cheaper and it does just as good, if not better than anything similar that I've tried growing. So don't spend big money for anything close to it. Just buy that. Still harvesting beans. The vines don't look the greatest, but I don't know, I'm still picking beans and throwing them in everything I cook just for the heck of it. Oh, I did that today. I almost forgot. See? Look at that pile of beans I got. Some of them are small, but I figure, well, I'm cooking tonight, so I have to remember to take those in so I can cook with them. The willow has started defoliating. This is the Iceberg Alley sage leaf willow next to a Sun King Aurelia, and behind that is a limelight hydrangea. Everything over here is looking pretty tired. The impatiens look nice still. I just planted this sedum a week or two ago, and same thing with this turtle head. I planted that maybe a month ago. Most of my perennials and shrubs, unless I can get them on the clearance section during the season, I just wait till late season and buy things on sale once they go on clearance for the fall. I loved this. I'll have to repeat this. This would actually be nice up by the house too, this container. This was like my herb container, plus pretty flowers. So I have hot and spicy oregano that trails, and I leave this out. That it could come back depending on the winter we have. I have had oregano come back for me. It's sort of marginally hardy. This is a Victoria Blue Salvia that I had in the center. And then I have 3 marigolds planted around here. We've got a couple different kinds of rosemary, and then a Bergarten sage, which is my favorite sage in terms of appearance because it gets these big, huge leaves and is always that nice, icy, cool color. And the basil, Emerald Towers basil. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a good basil to grow from seed, and these seeds are easy to find everywhere, grow this one. I've grown it in sunshade the last couple years now, either or part shade, not full shade. But look at this. It still has not bolted or bloomed all summer. I planted this like in June, beginning of June. And it's still, even though the stems have defoliated, it's still producing fresh basil that is good eaten. Tastes good, has good flavor. I don't think I'll ever grow any other kind of basil except for this one from now on. Even just the regular Italian Genovese basil or the Proven Winners Amazel basil, not nearly as good as this. Take my word for it. I tested all of them against each other one year. That was my least favorite. Yeah. Emerald Towers, and it's more compact too. You know, basil can get massive. Otherwise, here's an example, the same GM. This one I just planted earlier in the summer. So you can kind of see those nice big fuzzy leaves. They do have little like hairs on them too. Touch of Class, Jacob's Ladder, Autumn Frost Hosta. I think I showed this, but I did get another lady in red lady fern to plant there. And then let's see if I can get in here without tripping. Oh, you can't really see. The yew was covered in red berries. There's only a couple left. Well, shoot. That is a newly planted yew, Stonehenge skinny yew. But it was covered in red berries. Very ornamental. Yew are extremely toxic, though. So if you have any animals or children that might accidentally eat or that like to chew on things, be careful with yew because they are very poisonous, even to adults too. So, lamb's ear looks good. That's Helen von Stein. Planted that earlier this summer. This one is really cool. This is an annual, sadly, but I love that variegated leaf. What's it called? Caprosmia or something? Yeah. So I think I might, and it gets big. I have one in a container. I might have to shell out the money to buy that full price. The last couple years I've waited till it's gone on clearance, like in July. I mean, full price is not terrible. It's like $12 maybe for, so it's not terrible for like and it gets big for big centerpiece. It's pretty good. Just get one and then I can wait till clearance, right, to plant some more. Let's see. Hanging basket over here. starting to peter out a little bit, but I'll get to it when I get to it. And I love all the ferns over here, these, not ghost fern, Japanese painted ferns. This little drift of them. To this hosta, I forget what variety that is. It's a smaller one, maybe. No, Pocket Full of Sunshine. That has gotten really scorched the past few years. So I don't know if I'll leave that there and just wait till my tree gets bigger, or pull that out and replace it with something a little more sun tolerant. We'll see. This one also gets really scorched. I forget the name of this one. I think this one is Royal Wedding, and I may have lost the name from this one. It's years old now. It's mature, but I did cut away the scorched leaves, which is why there's a whole bunch of open space in there. I think I might move that to a shadier spot and plant the June hosta there instead, see if that's more sun tolerant. We will see. I don't know how many times I've tried to dig up this darn dandelion and I never get the whole root. It just keeps resprouting. I swear those things are immortal. Those roots. Here's a mature Rainbow's End hosta. Kind of has bird poop and leaf litter on it, but you can get that, the idea of the leaves. It's got that like sort of watercolor brush stroke look. Stripy leaves. I love this one. I was going to split it because I want it in more places. I was going to take this one and split it, but then I got the other one for like $5. So I thought, well, what the heck? I'll just buy a second one. Then I don't have to do so much work either. Bobo hydrangeas also getting their nice gold leaves. This is new. I planted a bunch of different like humalo around the garden. That one's a purple blooming one. Hudson Bay hosta back here, really pretty. I love the leaf color on that too. This one next to it is Coast to Coast, and that one gets pretty scorched. This is a variegated Brunnera in front of it. So some things are looking a little rough, but I did spin this container around because the while there are still some blooms, I have not trimmed. You know, it's getting to the end of the season, so I'm not bothering with all the... I've stopped fertilizing a month ago or more. Stopped trimming the petunias and stuff like that. So, but Lismachia doesn't require any of that. It just has pretty leaves. So, and you got a little row of these yellow petunia flowers coming through here too. But this grass is really cool. That's the blue mohawk rush grass. I've had years where that will overwinter in the ground as a hardy perennial, and then I've had other years where it died. So I guess semi-hardy. Here's some more mature GM foliage. These are probably 6-7 years old now. It is semi-evergreen, particularly if we get snow cover to protect it. And this little kahori, that's what's called kahari, dianthus, just kind of continues reblooming. It's just a little carpet ground cover. Over here, and I showed this last week, kind of this little area too. I'm hoping this sedum next year won't... I hope we don't have a bunch of feral kittens running around trampling on things, because I would love to have this stay upright. But Tater Tot's doing well. Everything's good over here. I just love that patch of alyssum. And this Virginia, I showed this last time too, but this is really cool. The nice big leaf texture like a hosta, but different, you know. I like the veining on it too, that it kind of has lighter veins compared to the leaf tissue. Like I said, it looks like a cabbage or some type of cabbage or something like that. And this one gets beautiful color. Well, both of these do. The 9-bark gets kind of reddish orange color. Not super bright, but pretty. And then this one gets kind of orange and gold. This is dogwood garden glow. Be warned, if dogwoods like your area, they're going to get at least double or triple what the tag says in terms of mature size. So just don't plant them anywhere too close. I have been cleaning out containers. I've just scratched the surface so far, but like this one I'll probably clear out pretty soon. It's a little hard, you know, because like even the potato vine still looks good this late in the season. But sometimes what I do is I'll clear things out when I have plants that look good, because a lot of these big containers, I store them with the soil in them. So I'll just throw whatever plants look good together in the pot and leave it on the patio until I'm ready to move everything into the garage. That way I have like a hodgepodge or something to look at with the nicer looking things. Tons of annuals that I'm going to overwinter. I think I will do a separate video maybe next week and just show you every single thing that I plan to overwinter. I say plan because, yeah, I guess sometimes you just have to cross that bridge when you get to it. Or the best laid plans, you know, whatever that saying is. But we try. This is what I do with the maizu. So this was, you know, a big, bushy, trailing maizu, much like this one is here. Well, that one's kind of got shaded out, but it was nice and long stems, full plant. This overwinters very well. So when I cleared out that container, I got as much as the root ball as I could, and then I just cut the branches way, way back. And I might even cut them further than this. We'll see, to go on the shelves. But I just cut the branches back. I have like literally a million empty plant cans from all my annuals, and just find a size that works and pot it up. Twinny snapdragon. In the ground, they just kind of petered out halfway through summer, like they just died. But the ones, I have grown them in the pot. This is Twinny Peach, this variety. I started these from seed, but I used to buy them from the plant sale, like in a 4-pack, and grow them in a pot every year in my apartment on my balcony, and they did awesome all summer long in the pot. So that's probably what I'll stick with from now on. I'll just keep them in a pot, but they're so pretty. I love that like frilly. I want to try more colors too of the Twinnies. So yeah, like I said, I'll go over all this overwintering stuff in a separate video. This is how I overwinter the canna tubers. I just dug this one out of a pot. You know, I cut all the stems back. You can cut them back even further. I probably will to fit it in there. And then I kind of work up the soil away. It's a little bit of work, but I don't clear it. You know, you can see there's still a lot of potting soil on there. I get in there a little bit and loosen it up. It's a lot easier when it's dry too. Like this one, I hadn't watered this container for a while. But most of this I do in the spring, because then all the little pieces of root, so you can see all these, like, this is rhizomes. So they spread out from the original plant and they send up new shoots and new branches, and that's how the plant just keeps getting bigger. But so this is all one piece, one rhizome. So I just put it not stored in any media or anything, just medium, just in a box in the basement, and I close it so the cats can't get at it. And then in the spring, kind of all of these viable growth points, like a big chunk like this, will be fresh and look like this. You can tell it's alive, and everything else will have desiccated and dried up. So it's a lot easier to pull it apart and get the soil off in the spring when all of those non-viable parts of the root have desiccated. So that's what I do. I just store it like that in a box. This is the geranium. This is the big, huge pink or rose mega splash geranium that I had in a big pot. And this is how I am attempting to overwinter it. I cleared it out of the pot, kept as much of the root ball intact as I could, but I cleared off, it's stuck. Jeez. Cleared off a bunch of the potting soil from the root ball. But I'm going to just put this in either a large paper bag or a cardboard box over the winter and try and store it. You just let the leaves dry. You can pull them off as they dry, or just wait till spring and then repot it up. I'll probably do that on the porch in a sunny, where it can get a lot of sun early on. But that's it. I haven't tried that before, but I know a lot of people have done geraniums like that for literal generations. So we're going to give it a shot. I will probably have to do that with all my geraniums, because I don't think, like these two I'd like to overwinter, but I don't think I will have room under the grow lights with all of the other annuals that I purchased on clearance. You can see dahlias. See, this is when they kind of bend over like this is usually when I cut them and make a bunch of bouquets. But like I said, I'm not staking or anything just because it's so late in the season, and It's not worth it. Canna Pretoria, nice and big. Couple flowers left. I think all of the hummingbirds have now migrated, all of the groups. But yeah, a lot of things still look fresh. I did clear out a bunch of pots from down here and move stuff around along with the, I had a coleus there. So I do overwinter in my shed as well, my perennials. So this is, it's very messy. I haven't gotten in here to clean it up. You know, I kind of clean up the summer stuff, move the shovels, snow shovels up here, move the summer stuff back. But this is where I store things. All of those green buckets will be filled with potting soil, along with probably a number of like potting soil bags that I saved. I will refill with the used potting soil, and those get tucked in the back. Then I have perennials. I've got pots under here usually, and kind of perennials and or shrubs lined up. See, it's very messy right now. I did find another even bigger tub at Menards. Again, it was kind of in the like masonry area. But this is where I store all my containers, my large containers. So the ones that are more medium sized, large and medium, that I can actually lift, I dump out the potting soil because I'm not going to lift them up full of potting soil. But those all go on these shelves. And then the rest, you can see the cat shelters that our neighbors gave us. There's one cat on there right now. So these will be winter shelters outside. But the rest just get lined up over here. The big, huge ones that I can't possibly lift even when they're empty, or I can barely lift. So just a sneak peek. And then I've got little pots over here. It's my storage situation for winter. The caladium definitely got hit. These nights in the 40s they have not liked. So this is what they do. They start really drooping quite a bit, droopy leaves. And you can, actually, I dug up 2 tubers. What the heck happened to those? What did I do with those? I don't have luck storing them, so I'm always optimistic. But it's hard to get rid of them. It's worth a shot, you know, when I get really big ones saved at least. But yeah, you can dig up the tubers or the corms of your caladium and overwinter those. I think they need to be, I always have issues with mold, so I think they need to be stored with quite a bit of air circulation. This pilea is really cool. This is just one plant, and I don't know which kind of pilea it is. There's a nursery that sells all these like accent plant type things. And they got a bunch of different pilea, just labeled pilea. But look at that, isn't that cool? It's just one plant. This fern I will be getting rid of. I do not want to overwinter that. It is too much mess for me. They get very messy, so I'll offer it to somebody at work. Look how massive this dragon wing begonia got. That started as a tiny little plant, and it is like up to my hip almost. Those have fibrous roots, so I don't believe there's any corm or anything that you can overwinter. I think if you overwinter those, you have to overwinter the plant, like with its root system. So that one I likely won't, but I have smaller ones that I got on clearance that I will give that a shot. But these, the basket type begonias, they usually have a darker, more velvety or matte looking leaf versus the waxy glossy leaf. This like wax type begonia has fibrous roots. This kind has tuberous roots. So you can dig up the tuber and just store the tuber. And I will try that with, well, these I bought as tubers, so I know I can do that. This one I bought as a plant, but I will give it a try. That way, impatiens are real leggy too. This planter actually still looks glorious. That's a calibrachoa and a ice plant. What's the name? Not Plectranthus. Something P. Purslane. Things over here still look really fresh too. This Mercury Dusty Miller is so cool. And I have to show again, now the Arbovita is in the way, but that Snow Princess Alyssum, just a magnificent annual. And that is just one plant. I love how it's like draping on the driveway too. Those blue, oh God, make sure it's in full sun, but if it is, that thing will just be spectacular. Here's another one of those. This one is in a pot that in full sun. That Caprosmia. Isn't that cool? It's almost like a euonymus, like a large euonymus looking shrub. So we can peek up front here. Oh, I did put together. So this is the container that that canna tuber came out of that I just cleared out. And then these alternate there were planted in that container, so I just tried to save as much roots as I could and pop them back in. I bought these rooster grass for, they were like $2 a piece on clearance, because when the begonias up front, usually by now we've had at least a frost cold enough to kill begonias and real tender stuff. So I put that in the front planter box for fall when my annuals die, but they're still looking glorious and I'm certainly not going to pull them out. So I just popped these in here. For now, I can move all this up front if we do get a frost that takes stuff. And then these little cabbage were on clearance at Menards for like $1.50 each, so I got those. And then this little random mum. This is like, this plant has shrunk every year because it's not really hardy here, and I keep overwintering it on the porch. But I had have it down to one little piece, so I just stuck that in there. So that's my little fall planter for now. Otherwise, this is still going good. I'm hoping, I think my friend's going to come pick marigolds, and then I can clear that area out and get the torch hydrangea planted on the side of the house. Vinca also overwinters very well, so I will be trying to dig this one up and save that Vinca. Again, I cut the branches like super short in order to do that. But things over here are looking still really good. The smoke bush tree, let's see, hopefully the sun doesn't cause a flare, like a lens flare here. It's getting that nice deep purple summer color. All those dead branches, I think, are from verticillium wilt. So we will see how this does. I'm just going to let it be, and we'll see how it comes out of dormancy in the spring. If we need to trim it back, I'll give it a chance, because sometimes you can trim off the affected branches, and this thing sprouts and grows like crazy. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. If not, I'll be sad to see it go, but I will not replace it with another smoke bush, just because trimming of it is kind of a pain. But I have ideas. Otherwise, things looking still really nice up here. Angelina sedum with that bright chartreuse pop. This is the Sunseekers. Sunseekers, is that the line? Sun Sparkler Plum Dazzled sedum. I have a couple of them in here. They're now kind of turning their fall color. I did buy a third one on clearance, and I hope this lavender comes back, because isn't that beautiful, that icy blue? It said zone 5, so we'll see. But yeah, this is my little rock garden. Here's the other Plum Dazzled that I purchased to replace the Serendipity Allium that just kind of kept petering out. Even the begonias, these little wax begonias in here, are still hanging on. We just haven't really gotten cold yet. Same thing with these beautiful begonia planters. They didn't have anything. That night we got down to 37. I think they're forecasting another night, but not even a frost. It's light frost. It's like in the mid-30s at the coldest this week. So we'll see. This is another version of a Pilea, also from that same brand. You can see a completely different plant, but just labeled Pilea with a little white begonia in there. This I planted. Normally I would not put this plant in such a small pot, because I know they get really large, but I got those real late in the season on clearance. So I figured I'd be fine for this year. But yeah, these begonias are still looking gorgeous. They didn't have any damage at all from that cold night, and still haven't. So I'm not pulling these out to plant brown grass. That would be insane. But I guess I can switch things up. I'm gonna say hi to my neighbors. They're walking by. Okay, I went around the corner in a different spot. My neighbors, group of people walk by, and I never want people to think that I'm like filming them or anything. So things looking good over here still. Victoria Blue Salvia, ornamental cabbage just got huge. And these I started from seed in the spring. I did plant some annual dianthus scattered throughout here in different spots, which tends to be perennial for me. This one's actually getting pink in the middle, late in the season. I love ornamental cabbage. But yeah, everything did really well. Even the sweet potato vine did fine with very little watering over here. So I think I can do a lot more than I thought I could in this garden. You can see the seed pods on these will self-seed forever and ever. If you plant these, this is balsam or Impatiens balsamina. You can see what they do. As soon as you touch the seed pod, it like bursts open and spreads the seeds. It just kind of explodes. I even forgot that I had this cabbage in here until just this week when I could see it again. But these marigolds are the ones, and they have hopefully killed some of the grass in this area too, which will make it much easier to plant that hydrangea. But that's where the torch hydrangea is going to go, is where all these marigolds are. So my friend who makes textile dyes, natural textile dyes, just as it for fun, she's going to come and harvest all these flowers before I pull out the plants, so they will go to good use. A little bit of color. This one, barberry, tends to change color late. This one this is limoncello, tends to turn very late, but it gets brilliant red and orange tones to it. And you can see how much it changes. Like this one is very bright chartreuse green early in the season, and then the leaves have red margins. Really pretty barberry, but as it gets later in the season, it turns darker and darker till it's just kind of a nondescript green shrub. Still pleasant, and you can see the little berries that it forms as well until it gets its fall color, and then it's just gorgeous. Caramel heuchera, one of the best heucheras on the market, I think, has done very well for me so far. This one also has done pretty well. That's not Mardi Gras. What's the name? I want to say it's something Cajun fire. Cajun, New Orleans, whatever. Mardi Gras. Cajun fire has also done pretty well for me. It just stays more compact. You can see the blue shadow Fothergilla gets really pretty colors to it. It's being overshone right now by the henna coleus that I planted right next to it and got way bigger than I thought it would. But yeah, still nice. We've got a Vermillionaire Kufia that I threw in there late in the season. Don't mind my edges. I did not feel like edging today, so. But henna coleus didn't get nipped at all by the frost that we got. Here's another caramel heuchera. It's just massive. Excited to see, this is String Theory Amsonia. I'm excited to see that get its gold color again this year. This is now getting to a nice mature size, almost more of like a shrub sized. And I keep forgetting about this container, but it just keeps kicking. That is a Angel Wing Senecio, Dichondra Silver Falls, and then I have a Scaevola in here that's kind of petered out now, this blue Scaevola. These self-seeded Rudbeckia worked out great. I didn't have to do a thing. Just let them grow. Yeah, we'll see. I've got plans for back here. It's looking pretty messy right now. But these hydrangea grow in almost full shade. This is the Little Quickfire hydrangea, and these are mature size. They would probably get bigger in more sunlight. They get a little bit of sun early morning and late afternoon. But I like that open habit to the blooms, that kind of lacy look, and they're just covered in blooms. But because the bloom heads aren't so heavy, they never droop down. Even in heavy rain, they always stay upright. So I think I'm going to replace one of my little lime hydrangeas with one of these if I can get it on clearance this year or next year. Got beautiful snapdragons coming up here. More annuals. This is a mum that kind of blooms all season. I suppose if I pruned it throughout the season, I would get a bigger bloom probably in the fall, but I like seeing these little pink blooms all season long, even if it does split open. I moved my poor little hosta back there. These two poor plants look kind of beaten up. It's been dry, and I have not watered up here, but I did plant two of these. What's that variety? That's the Proven Winners heuchera that I got on clearance at Home Depot. And I think my Monet Weigela is going to finally fill in the next couple years. Purple shades, my Monet purple shades. This one got like totally beaten down by snow and crushed when it was brand new. But now it's finally coming to fruition or to maturity. So, and these are solar eclipse heucherella. These have been here for now several years, and they do great. I think it helps that, you know, all the snow that we shovel off the sidewalk gets piled up here, so it really insulates them against winter damage. But you can see how dark they get late season, where it's just a small, early in the season, they're almost completely chartreuse with just some dark purple veins. And then that dark purple spreads out, you know, like this. Like, you can see this newer leaf. That's kind of what they're like in the spring, but they're really bright chartreuse. But then that dark purple, as the season goes on and it gets, the leaves age, that brown kind of spreads out. And then you're left with just a chartreuse border. All right, well, that's enough talking. I hope you're all having a great fall. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I enjoy doing this so much, and I love all your comments. It's just a lot of fun. So thank you again, and I hope you have a great week.